Okay, so we're back in the salon and I decided to do something different. Oh, look at my nails. Now, you guys know that I have been doing airbrush nails for years. And not only do I airbrush nails, but I airbrush and I mix a lot of different mediums. When I airbrush, let me show you the other hand. Yeah, airbrush, 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 and of course, airbrush. Right, so we mix a lot of mediums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 3 design mini airbrush nail art course. Why? Because I feel like you don't understand that I am the GOAT at airbrush and I'm trying to show you how to add this technique to your arsenal to make you coins. And it's easy. And I'm going to show you in this 3-part series. On the first one, and I'm just going to make sure all of them get loaded at the same time so you can watch one after another, that we can get these techniques down, start doing it in the shop literally the same day. Okay, so let me stop shaking the phone. Oh my god, let's get started. Okay, so let's get into lesson 1. We're gonna need some salvaged pieces of stencil masking or whatever. I always send salvaged pieces whenever people buy stencils from me because I know you can use them to do so many other creative things. I am airbrushing over a matte nail. Yes, I have actually gel coated it with a matte top coat. Koopa is one of my favorites to airbrush over. I don't know why, but it just kind of works really good with the Koopa. And I'm just moving this piece of masking around and just spraying right on the edge so that we get some little layers. We're doing a bunch of different angles and I'm using white, right? We're using white on this for this first layer of the design. And when you see the final, you're gonna be like, girl, what? Yeah. Yeah. If you're doing anything like this, especially if you're just starting, I would at least charge $1 per minute, which will work out to like $5 or $6 per nail, especially because you're going to be switching a bunch of colors. So after I got all my little lines in white laid out, I'm going to go back in with another piece of masking. I just cut it. And I'm going to use the neons. Now, I ended up using the neon yellow here, but it wasn't as bright as I wanted, so that made me upset. So I was like, whatever. And I went with the neon fuchsia or magenta. On this one, it gets a little blurry, but you get it. We're still spraying the edge. I added the sea green and the blue, and I'm just pretty much layering over the white with colors. Some of the colors I'm using are glass tints or jelly tints or candy tints. Yes, this is acrylic airbrush paint. The One Air airbrush paint line has a candy tint acrylic airbrush paint line. So that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm using a few more of the colors that are like translucent, which is why I use the neons, because the neons are thinner. And so you'll get a big color payoff like over the white, right? So here's the neon green and the neon orange. I just went over that yellow like it never happened, and it turned out really good. This is seriously a cheat code technique. It's very cute. You should try it. I do a little base coat gel. Then, of course, I cure that and I do some top coat. And, baby, the final look, yeah. It's one of those quick but simple but looking detailed type things. Do it. Try it. Now, this is look number 2. We're using all of these different colors. I sped it up because it doesn't matter. You can use whatever colors you want. And we're going to do a sweater nail. Yeah, it's going to look fuzzy. Now, I want you to pay attention to the fact that my airbrush handpiece nozzle is maybe a half an inch to 3/4 of an inch away from the nail. And I am moving the nail and the handpiece simultaneously. I'm airbrushing over a matte gel color, I think like a nude. And we're just softly laying in colors in a straight line. Now, if you haven't got my airbrush starter guide, I'll link that below as well because it has a practice sheet in there that you can just print it out and it'll show you how to get basically more online, you know? I feel like sometimes the most difficult part is actually being able to spray in a straight line. That's look number 2. Let me know what you think below. Let's hit up number 3. Now, I got blue and white here, but I actually did not end up using the white. I airbrushed the blue only. On the base, I have 2 coats of white gel and on top with my favorite Koopa matte. And I lay in all of these Mega Line stencils. Super simple. The Mega Line stencils actually come with the beginner's airbrush course. And after I do the full thing laid out, I just take every other off. Is it a pain in the neck? Yes. Do you charge for it? Yes, also twice. Now, with our airbrush, look at me. I'm only 3/4 of an inch away from the nail. not super close because I don't want it to puddle. A lot of times when people are having chipping issues or it's not drying, you're spraying too much. That's really what it is. You're spraying too much. You spraying too much. That's why I suggest that you get the beginner's course, because a lot of times on YouTube they'll tell you like, oh yeah, just do what I did, and you're like, but what about the trigger, the pressure, how much do I spray? I remove all of those little stencil pieces. They're reusable. When I got done with this, I actually ended up putting them in my stencil saver book, and that comes in your beginner course as well. And then over what I airbrushed, I am going to put the stencil. This is acrylic airbrush water-based paint. If you do not overspray and you spray just like lightly, like I suggest in all of my videos and everything else, it will dry quickly because you don't need a lot. You don't need to be heavy-handed. It's light-handed. Now, we're going to grab our airbrush one more time, and we're just going to spray down the center. So we're doing the opposite of what we did before, right? Still 3/4 of an inch away from the actual nail. And that is because I don't want to flood it with paint. It's a light, soft spray. If you're having issues with chipping, it's probably because you're spraying too much. 10 out of 10, you're doing too much. You don't need a lot, honestly. It's light, thin coats, and that's real time right there. So once you take off the stencil, look at that. You get a nice little visual illusion. Do our base coat, then our top coat gel, of course, curing between each one, and that's the final look. Thank you. Right, so you've just finished watching all of the mini course, which it was just like a little bitty, just an ideal I had, basically a dream. You guys know I get a lot of good nail ideas in dreams. It's insane. It's like 21 years of nail experience, and I'm dreaming about it. Is that a win? I don't know. I think so. So you've watched everything, you've absorbed all of the education, you want a little bit more. What I want you to do is scroll down below in the description, grab my beginner's course that comes with stencils, and also I'm gonna put, because of my YouTube it's been picking up, right? I got a lot more followers, like watch hours. So for y'all, I'm gonna add 5 more bonus airbrush nail art techniques to my beginner's course that have not been there for anybody else. So if you grab the beginner's course, you're actually gonna get, instead of 14 lessons, you're gonna get 19. It's a weird number. We'll see if I do it. Take it up to 20. I don't know. Should I take up to 20? Yeah? I probably will. But like I said, check below in the description and I'll have all the resources there. And thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe with your nail tribe. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.